Welcome to Be Agile Team. Today we will break down the definition of done, not in theory, but in practical steps with real Amazon style examples. And by the end, you will see exactly what each step translates while teams deliver high value software features. So let's start with the first one. As you can see here, the first step is acceptance criteria is met. Done starts with these criteria that are mentioned in a Jira ticket being accepted by whom? By the product owner or the product manager. So for example, let's say Amazon added a new filter on the product search page and it says Prime eligible only. The feature isn't done until the users can select it and only Prime eligible products appear. Simple, testable and verifiable. That is what we want to meet when we say acceptance criteria are met. Next is unit and component tests coded and passed. Developers write unit tests for every small part of functionality. Imagine the add to cart button that you see on Amazon. A unit test verifies clicking it increases the cart count from 2 to 3. And the component tests make sure that the buttons work correctly when combined with other UI elements like the cart preview, pop-up, etc. So you see, you're not just writing the functionality of the main code itself, but also you're seeing if the components that work together are working as expected. The next is code peer reviewed. Very, very important. A developer working on, let's say, an Amazon's checkout service might have their code reviewed by whom? By someone else on the team. So you could have a tech lead or another developer on the team. Confirm if it meets standards, code standards laid out by the business, follows performance standards, handles errors gracefully, and doesn't introduce latency or spike at scale. Peer review is like having a second set of eyes looking at the code, checking to make sure that everything looks good as expected and is working and behaving the way it's expected. The next, as you can see here, is QA, test cases documented in Qmetry and automation tests passed. QA or the SDETs on the team add test cases in tools like Qmetry or any other tool within your organization, whichever tools you use. So coming back to Amazon, this means that automated tests ensuring that when a coupon is applied, let's say, the total price updates correctly and still respects the Prime discounts, right? The Prime membership discounts. The automation guarantees this check runs every single time without manual effort. And that is what we mean by automation. And we want to automate as much of our QA as possible and move away from manual testing. So that is the automation aspect. The next is code checked into appropriate branch. Now here we're talking about branching techniques. All code must be checked into the right branch. And let's say again, coming back to Amazon, for Amazon scale, one missing commit in the wrong branch could break millions of transactions. So this is an extra critical step that devs must follow. And also the CI/CD pipeline then picks up the code to run validations automatically once checked into the appropriate branch. So you want to make sure that your branching strategies are strong, that your devs are following strict code check-ins and branching strategies and best practices. The next is regression testing. As you can see here, we're talking about regression tests passed to ensure existing functionality is not broken. Now, if Amazon adds a new buy now with one click update, let's say, the regression test will confirm that the existing flows like gift card redemption or any other existing features are not broken. You don't want a new feature disabling the gift cards accidentally, right? That's what you want to do. You want to make sure that your old features still work, and that's where regression tests come into picture. So whenever you develop new code, you want to make sure that the old ones still, all the old features still work as expected. The next is deployed to stage environment and code working as expected. Now, let's again go back. For instance, Amazon may roll out a new recommendation algorithm in stage and validate it with synthetic traffic before pushing it live. Now, what happens here? If it fails in stage, it never goes to a customer. So we are saying, instead of saying deployed to prod environment or production environment or deployed to a customer, this specific team here is deploying it to a stage environment, which means that there's another environment and another added step, but within their definition of done, they're not including prod environment. Next is, look at the other step here. It says tagging with the correct semantic versioning for prod releases. Amazon engineers tag releases like you could have v1.142.0 or whatever those examples are, v.1 or version 1.1.1 or version 1.2.1 or 2.2 or 2.5. Whatever it is, these are release tags, and this helps trace issues. If, let's say, version 1.1 breaks, the delivery estimate features would want to roll back to a previous version that was working fine, right? And which is why you want to have the correct semantic versioning in place. So versioning gives clarity in a world where hundreds of services are updated daily. Which ones are you going to keep track of? The semantic versioning is going to guide you there. Next, look at this team going through the next step here. They're saying ServiceNow change requests must be created and release notifications generated, and if applicable, to be deployed to prod, if applicable. Now, what does that mean? For enterprises like Amazon, governance matters a lot, right? Or any enterprise today. A ServiceNow request documents the release of a new feature, let's say a locker pickup feature, whatever a new feature that could be. And the notifications ensures that the downstream teams like the delivery ops are aware of the changes that might affect their workflows. So it is critical, highly critical, that ServiceNow change requests and notifications are streamlined, approvals are in place. There's again strict guidelines on how soon you have to take those approvals before going into prod, that you take these approvals and things like that. Those change, again, standards are org to org, so make sure to find out what is specific within your organization for those standards. The next is technical documentation updated. Now, without documentation, no one knows what change transpired, right? So imagine Amazon's support team needing to explain a new subscription feature. If the documentation isn't updated, customers and agents both get lost. They just don't know. Teams don't know what's going on if the documentation is not up to date. Done means for this specific teams, documentation is updated and current. And the last one is feature branch cleanup. So finally, delete the feature branch. And if Amazon leaves old branches like cart feature, beta version lying around, developers might mistakenly code against them, right? So you want cleanup. So cleaning up branches keeps the repo healthy. So this is a technical but practical definition of done. From Amazon's filters to one-click checkout, every example shows why these steps matter. Done does not mean code written. It means code is tested, documented, reviewed, deployed, and safe for millions of customers. Now, each team has to sit together, come together during their working agreements to define what done means to specific individual teams. To that team, does done mean taking it to prod? Does done mean deploying it to stage? Does done mean that a ServiceNow change request is created or technical documentation needs to be updated or not? Some teams may not have any technical documentation to be updated. Everything is tracked via Jira or via ServiceNow tickets. That's fine. So whatever works for your team, but ultimately it is the definition of that specific Scrum team and their collective understanding of what done means to them. And obviously, along with standards set by your enterprise. I hope this is absolutely clear and practical. And for more such videos, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Take care.